Yeah, man. I guess we should start with the leader of the free world. No, not someone from 8 Mile. Deciding he's about to move around. James, Joe Biden has that man hit the notes app. That man was basically like, "Fuck y'all niggas, I'm out of here." Like one of those type deals. So Joe Biden basically uh, said that he's not going to further pursue, president of the United States in the next election. It actually has been confirmed, like just before we went live, that Kamala Harris ended up getting all the delegates needed to officially secure the nomination. So looks like it's going to be Harris versus Trump. Um, the whole thing with Joe Biden was, it was wild, and I've never seen anything like this in my life, so I didn't really know how to react, how I should react. I saw it, and part of me was, I felt bad for Joe Biden. It feels like somebody just walked in the room and tapped him on the shoulder, like, "Hey, big dog, it ain't working. Like, it ain't happening, big dog." Like, I don't know who that is. Who's the big Joker person? I don't know who that is. But like, the money started moving a certain way, and the rush of funds that has been raised in the last like 24 hours. It's Monday night as we're doing this.
Staggering.
Just incredible numbers for Harris with the amount of fundraising, large donors, and she's already swinging on them too. So, um, just in a way with it, just how like I said, I felt bad for Joe Biden because I think about the older people in your life, or older people when you got to tap them on the shoulder. Like I can imagine, like like fortunately, like it's crazy. My father already passed away, so there wasn't like a time where I was gonna have to tap him on the shoulder and be like, "I gotta take your keys."
Hmm.
I didn't get that. My mom's still alive, and there's a lot of people that will have to do that with either an older family member, a parent, a grandparent, something like that. And I imagine it's not an easy conversation to have. A lot of people, old folks have pride, feel like they, have a lot to offer still, and then it's just like, like I said, I wasn't a fan of how Joe was treated. I feel like, in the moment, I was like, I didn't know if there would be anybody else that'd be able to carry the amount of diverse voters that he would. And basically, there's one goal, kind of. And I hate to get all political on the show, but it's a whole thing here. Like, it's surrounding us in everyday life. So, you know, you see what's on deck, what could possibly, like, what got accomplished before, what could possibly be on deck. You saw the Supreme Court has already been upended.
Hmm.
There's no room for fucking around. I feel like,
Yep.
and I think Harris is an exciting candidate. It already feels like there's a new energy, like around, like people feel like energized.
Yeah. They do, and I wish I remember what her campaign policies were when she was running for the or sorry, for the Democratic nomination 4 years ago. I don't really remember how strong her policy was in my own opinion, obviously. Uh, but um, it was funny because after the first debate, you're watching just like these two guys, and they're embarrassing both of them. The problem was one side did not care how embarrassing their old white guy was. The other side was like, "Oh, this is going to completely break our voting block if we don't make a move." The other side, they're voting for who they want regardless, right? They putting it through no matter what, right? So they they had to make a move, and it was funny because like everybody at the time was looking around like, "Hey man, there's some talk from insider saying in the money saying, hey, this is bad." And um, it was very similar to you know being a fan of college sports and seeing like a big program with a lot of money around and a lot of people in the building, a lot of people with the money talking around and getting and leaking out saying, "Hey, this needs to change. Otherwise, money's getting pulled, funding's getting pulled, support's getting pulled. It can affect future. It can affect the future of the university slash the party." And it was like, yeah, this sounds like it's over for him, but I don't know. It seems it was one of those, what felt like, because it's so unprecedented. Even though everything over the last almost decade has been unprecedented, it felt like I know what this normally feels like, but is it actually going to happen? And lo and behold, we're in precedent times. Like a person that won the presidency had to step down because their money was in support was leaving them. So yeah, I just you know, I that statement you made about earlier about someone being at a certain age and like you kind of feel like, hey, this isn't for you anymore. Like your day has passed, and it's a hard thing to have to tell somebody that, and people are prideful, and people achieve things and be told they can no longer do things. The old saying, um uh or once an adult, twice a child.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a microcosm of this. And it's been going on with the Democratic Party for a long time. Where like, and also it just in general with like the way I was talking to Julian about this. We talked about a lot of things the other day. A lot of things. We can't talk about it on air, but we spent a good bit talking about um, our political differences, me and him, and like I explained to him, like, yeah, man, you just look at, and he agreed because obviously, but because it's straightforward and obvious. But it's like you look at like what is going on in society with like the wealth distribution, like the change in like so many of the older people are still in power in place of power, and as opposed to time like 40 years ago they've been moved out. Like no, boomers still have an overwhelming amount of the wealth and power and political clout. And you saw that with 4 years ago with Biden, with Bernie Sanders, with Elizabeth Warren, with Trump, and that's 4 years past. And what do we still have at the debate
Damn,
table?
damn near ran into a rematch again.
Right, right. And it's like this needs to change. Like I understand they because of what has happened in the greed of capitalism. Like these people have so much sway and have so much money or whatever else, and the old money don't ever seem to die out. um, uh, it's just that like it they are so isolated and they are not, even with people that we think know some things, they're still missing the part where like they are so disconnected from you know forget young millennials,
Yeah.
Zers, right? Like people born in the 90s are they, like I have a younger brother who's now I turned 20. He's 27 now. So that means he's been able to vote for multiple elections now. Think of who he's had to vote for.
Why
He
would
had
you
to
be
vote.
engaged by
He
that?
had to vote. What was eligible for him to vote for, because he graduated in 2015, right? That's either obviously he would never vote for Donald Trump, but it's like he's either voting for, and he doesn't. I don't think he actually does vote, but that's neither here nor there. But like his options are Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump or Joe Biden. It was going to be Donald Trump or Joe Biden again. It's like what younger people like? What is going to drive them to? What is going to energize them to come out and vote and have political awareness aside from just gloom, outside of, because like it's one thing to be moved by negativity. We saw that, right? Like we saw that with Biden, but like it's another thing to be like actually energized in a way like say Obama was in 2008. Like it's one, you can't just consistently have people be moved by you got to save the world again.
Yeah, moved by
You got to save
fear.
the world again.
Like you don't want that to happen. I'm like, well, what are we going up for? Like, I
Right.
want to say I think I was 19 the first time I voted. Maybe it was like 2008 or whatever.
Mhm.
And it was like, this 44-year-old guy walks on the scene, and it just, everything he's saying at the time, it just feels powerful. It feels inspiring. It feels like there's a different way to. achieve things in the world.
It felt actually presidential after we had 8 years of nonsense.
Yeah, yeah, and then look at the predecessor and stuff like that, and then
Yeah.
it's been a very interesting world since 2008, and it's like
Yikes.
I don't think it's anything like you can just look at the older, even up to 2012 with like Mitt Romney being involved and just the way people spoke to each other. So
Right.
like even though the ugliness that Obama faced, I felt like but everyone had to do it a little bit more buttoned up then. Since
Hmm.
then, we've completely like let the titties out. Like
So
since then, like with the way
right.
Trump like the stuff that's gonna be coming at Harris is gonna be just unhinged.
Worse. It's got like the stuff that you thought that was so bad about Biden or Hillary Obama. It's going to be worse. Um. One thing I wanted to mention that like how much of that do you think is the byproduct of the negativity of the algorithm involved in the discussion now to the discourse of this because like it's a toxic place. Politics is already nasty. We've gotten more volatile and more polarized politically in the national landscape, hell, state landscape.
Folks are more
Like
radicalized,
right,
and
right. Folks are more radicalized on both sides.
and in some
What
cases,
part of that do you think is baked into the algorithm tricking us?
oh, it's not even
All
trick.
of it, not obviously not all of it, because obviously once you put a black president in the Oval Office, this is already on the path, and then you get social media, then you get Twitter basically modernizing social media.
And what happens is the algorithm's not tricking us anymore. The algorithm is being built to give us this. Like this is like
Yep, yep.
like Twitter now it has been y'all know it's been upended, so to
Right,
speak. And
right.
then
But
we already know Facebook was a hellhole. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I talked to you about it off air over the weekend. Like there was a girl that friended me on Facebook from my high school days, and like we like I knew her, right? But like weren't like we were friends, but it's like I haven't had anybody that I actually know, right? So I added her, and then like I look at her page, scroll, couple scrolls, praying for Trump, Trump. I was like, fuck. Like, I'm not even on this app. I only reason I was on this app to be alerted to it because I got a friend notification, and now it's this. Fuck. Like this is the cesspool that I've been dealing with for the damn near a decade now on Facebook.
yeah,
Like I don't go there because I don't like to see them. Like so many of my Facebook friends or so many of my high school friends turn into bigots. I just don't. So yeah, or fundamentally hate me even though we're friends on Facebook. What the fuck? Like,
one of the good ones, James.
yeah, that's definitely what it is. It's like I was another conversation with Julie where it's like we grew up going to these white schools, these white public schools, and like we had these friends, and like it wasn't
y'all
that
think
like
y'all was special.
it was like the part of like these white people didn't see us and humanize us, and then to some extent humanize us, and they feel like all black people, are humans or people with thoughts and dreams and feelings. It was, oh, these people that I actually know are different. These other ones are still subhuman. That's the trick when you grow up and you get older. You realize like the way they talk, you like, bro, they be like, no, you're different. No, I'm not. Right. I promise you, I'm not.
Right.
Want to know how I know? Because I know these motherfuckers in general you talking about. So yeah, man. But anyway, like this all. So I was just wondering, like,
Ayo was good.
Obviously, I don't want to put a huge percentage on it, but like, do you think it's most of the lion's share to blame for this? Do you think it's as far as Twitter amping this up, like unintentionally, unintended consequences in it? Like, how much you think is just like we've gotten so raw in discourse, people tweet out whatever they think without actually thinking, and it goes out in the air and it just bats around nonstop for 24/7.
It's a big
for years and years and years, and now a decade over.
It's a big circle. A lot of people have retreated into their own echo chambers again. But as you can see with January 6th and stuff like that. But it's disheartening, a lot of it. But maybe this is like a step to where a necessary move that had to happen happened. Like if you were this whole, all we got is two old white men to vote for. Well, you got something else now. a button was pressed, and
Yeah,
you have another option here. So,
yeah.
am I confident that America will support a black woman to defeat Donald Trump when Hillary Clinton was right there? And you would think it would almost be easier for Hillary Clinton to defeat Donald Trump, but that wasn't the case. Um, so all one can do is just see how this whole thing goes, and um, you know hope for the best. I hate to be optimistic, James, but that's all I really have here.
Uh, yeah, you're right. That's all you got. It's like, cause like I'm just my expectations are so low.
Yeah,
It is not whether or not she can do the job. It's not whether or not Trump should be disqualified or he's a felon or whatever else. Like folks ain't gonna care
I
about
don't
that
care
on one
about
side.
yeah.
Like the magical swing voter. I'd love to know who the fuck they are. Like Caleb was talking to us about the swing voter the other day, and I was like, bro, I don't. Who are these people? Like, who are people to be swaying one way or the other after this happens? Yeah.
Who are these?
Yeah, and by niggas, they not black.
Yeah, exactly.
We call them niggas. They not niggas.
Right.
So yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see how this goes, and I'm just like, well, Biden did win Georgia. Do I think that Kamala Harris is gonna win Georgia after Stacey Abrams can win Georgia?
Yeah.
It's so like the mid, like we talked about it, like the Midwest.
Yeah, the Midwest gonna be difficult. You would imagine.
You
walking into Ohio. I don't know.
I mean, Ohio's already a dub at this point for Republicans, but still, it's just it's we will see. We'll see how this goes. Like I think if I had to guess, I think that Kamala Harris will win the popular vote, but she would not. But I just do not see the path to is it path 270?
Yeah,
the path 270. See, there's still some time. We'll see how this goes, whatever else. But
how furious is Trump? 1 week ago, he was shot at, and there were people walking around.
That's baked into the math of all this. That's why I also think that also made it easy for Biden to be like, I ain't winning after that shit. So there's like, good luck. I'm out here.
Yeah. So it was like this thing that completely took that out the news cycle or whatever. As people was walking around with their ear bandages and shit. This is like completely like nobody cares anymore that you were shot at. So like he's gonna have to try to milk that a little bit more. But I think the people have moved on. The news cycle has shifted here. So I don't know, man. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
We'll talk about it as it gets closer.
Yeah, I feel like we're headed towards the disappointment, but not surprised.
Oh,
I feel like we're really headed towards it. Oh